How do we have good mental health?
Good mental health means being at peace with oneself and life, and being stabilized in a happy feeling. So how do we achieve that? I think the first thing to understand is, where does mental health, mental disease, bad mental health, where does that arise from? Pretty much in every case, bad mental health arises out of internal dialogue, out of the characterizer characterizing. There is a view that says your internal dialogue arises spontaneously of its own accord, given by who you're being that you are or that life is in any one moment. It just arises spontaneously. For example, if who you were being was angry for some reason, then you would have spontaneously arising angry thoughts for as long as you maintain that beingness of anger. Can you watch that event happening? I once got very, very angry. I was in India and I was seeing Muji Baba, and there was a kind of level of what I judged to be sycophancy. And it just hit. I was so angry. How could they be so? And then somehow I got jacked out, and I saw myself barking to myself. I wasn't saying anything. I was just trying to be cool and looking serene. But internally I was... And this thing is looking, which is me, and seeing this spontaneously arising mad anger. Now, because it was so intense, I could really see that it was arising of its own accord. But actually the whole thing is arising of its own accord. The self. What is the self? Who's the one that knows you're thinking these crazy thoughts that equal bad mental health? Is that one sick? When you hear confused thinking, your own, the one that witnesses that, is that one confused? Or moved at all? Can you see this? Can we see this? How do you shut up the internal dialogue? Can you tell it to shut up by creating another character and talking to it and go, can't you just shut up? Will it shut up then? That aspect might, but now you've got this one going, well, there you go, you see, I just told it to shut up and it did. And then another one will go, well, yeah, you know you didn't because you're still talking. Well, I may be talking, but I'm talking because I want to talk. Well, you can't be... No, you can't tell yourself to shut up. How do you know it's not you? Because it won't shut up when you tell it. That's how you know it's not you. If it was you and you told yourself to shut up, you would shut up. So when it is rabbiting on, what's the only way that you can shut it up? The only way I found is to distinguish myself as the listener. You can't have your centre of focus in two places. It can only be one. Either your centre of focus is in the chattering or it's in the listening. As soon as it comes into the listening, chattering stops, for as long as it's in the listening. To start with, getting a sense of the observer, who is equanimous, who is still, who can't be tainted by anything that's happened, who is simply presence, just awareness, calm always. By recognizing that in you, then your relationship with all the characterizations and characters that get stirred up by spontaneously arising movements of your mind becomes easier to deal with. You see, the truth of it is that if we really get down to brass tacks, right down to the very, very deepest truth. That which you've always been, which we must call you, can't have bad mental health or even good mental health. It's the domain in which all that happens, just like the sky is the domain within which weather happens. Bad weather, 1 minute it's sunny, 1 minute it's cloudy, 1 minute it's pouring with rain, next minute we're getting burnt. But all of it happens in the sky. What does that equate to in us? That sky-like awareness. The thing that knows you're feeling terrible weather. The thing that makes you feel, oh, it's better today. Does that thing change, is my point. Or say you go into a cinema and a movie is projected on the screen and we all completely forget it's a movie. It's just light projected onto a screen. They're not really going to kill the hero. The world isn't really going to end. It's a movie. But we all get around, we release our emotions and we project our past and our emotions and our ideas and our aesthetics and every kind of thing onto the screen. People crying. Whole cinemas screaming at the same moment. I've seen it. And then at the end, the screen is still there. Unchanged. Nothing happened to the screen, no matter what was projected on it. Is there something like that in me? If I knew of that, would that transform my relationship to my mental health? I think it would. Also, it's good to remember there are things that are good to remember. Like, everything actually does change. No weather condition. Some weather conditions last a long old time, it's true. But no weather condition remains the same. No mental state, no mental ill health or dis-ease remains without changing. It passes, it changes, it moves. But that which observes remains the same. So sometimes just remembering it's going to change can be helpful. For me, from my experience, which is all I can really speak from authoritatively, is that if you want to help your mental health, the best possible thing you can do on a daily basis is to sit. Get good at being at peace. Get good at putting down stuff. The great master Prem Rawat, he said, what you practice, you get good at, whatever it is. So even if when you first try to meditate, all you hear is the chatter of your own mind, that's just starting. Then you practice, and then after a while, you start to understand from a very deep place how it works and what's really going on and how simple it is to be at peace. Because the truth is that apart from the chattering self, the whole universe is in the most deep peace. If you went out 1,000 miles into deep space and got out, totally peaceful. Not a sound, everything in deep stillness. If you go out at night, top of a hill, complete stillness. The bird song and all the animal stuff is happening in a background of deep stillness. And within us, there's permanently deep, profound, unfathomable stillness. That's where we need to rest and keep returning there. And then after a while, we start to realize that I am not my mental health. That's not who I am. Who are you? Oh, I'm a schizophrenic. Who are you? I'm a bipolar. Who are you? I'm a whatever. No, you're not. No, you're not. That's your mental health. Who you are, that's something to find out. And funnily enough, amazingly enough, luckily enough, who we truly are hasn't really got that much to do with our mental health. So returning to this place, starting to recognize peace within, realizing that, okay, the mind will always be chattering, but I don't have to always be listening. I can take my attention and put it into this place. I can recognize something wonderful within me. When you're having very bad mental health, that peace actually is still there. You're only having a very bad experience of mental health when that happens. Sometimes it happens because you are present in this body, in this life. And you can return to presence. Once you've got it, once you've seen it, you can return to presence very easily. And then it feels like, wow, I am being supported by an unknown force. Who is that? What is that? That just brought me out of something and unfolded something else for me. There's a lot more love around than we recognize and remember when our mental weather is bad. There's a lot more love than we remember. Also, I think for good mental health, it's really important to communicate. Because when your mind tells you stuff and you believe it, that's when things go strange. But if you told that same stuff that your mind has just told you that you've just accepted, and you told it to somebody else, you said, you know what, I've been thinking that maybe da 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 da. When you say that in another person's hearing, it's a very subtle thing, but you kind of get their reality on what you're saying, and it allows you not to be quite so involved in what you're saying. So communicating, allowing people to hear you, allowing people to listen to you, so that you can hear yourself. So the key thing is the understanding that no matter how bad the weather, the sky does not change. Peace be with you.